Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Blue Jays by Jayzeta.
Blue Jays is a card game in which you are going to be laying cards from your hand onto the table, trying to cover up other cards, trying to be the first player to get rid of all the cards from your hand, or to get a pair of Blue Jays. This will make a little more sense when I explain it to you down below. And what you can see here is it's a very small game. In fact, it's just one of these boxes. We've got several different boxes out here, which are actually different modules that you can add to the game. And some of them come with a real-time aspect, a lot of things going on with the different modules here. We'll do our best to explain what we can about all of these modules and the basic game down below, and we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, I have Blue Jays on the table. Let me show you guys how this card game works. And in this portion of the video, I'm going to actually show you the rules to the game before I show you all the components, because as you can see, there are quite a few different components for this card game. And I'm going to start off by explaining that this box right here and this box right over here are pretty much the same thing. They just look different. This box right here is going to contain the basic deck of cards and a more solid color scale to the cards here, as you can see on the different cards, whereas this deck over here, the Elements deck, is going to have cards that have different texture to the backgrounds of the different colors. And I'm actually going to use this deck to explain how the game works. How this is going to work: players are going to have 3 cards dealt to them, except for the start player, who will have 4 cards dealt to them, and the cards dealt to them are going to have differing quadrants on them, 4 quadrants of different colors and different symbols on top of each color. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to match colors with different colors and symbols with different symbols. And ideally, you want to match both. So color and symbol and symbol. This will make more sense here in just a second. There will be a start card for every game, as indicated by the start right there. And that will be played in the center of the table. And the person who owns the game is going to be the one who gets to go first. And they will, as I mentioned, have 4 cards dealt to them. And so they play the first card. And so say this is their card right here. And perhaps maybe they play like this, because this fire matches the fire and the sand matches the sand. Now, as you can see, there are no symbols on the start card. So I could just play it like so, and it would overlap like that. And now the playing area has grown because the next player is able to play on any of these squares that are shown. So they have this card right here, for instance, and they are wanting to play like this because the heart matches the heart and the water matches the water. When you do this, you have created a perfect match for 1 square, and that will cause your opponent to have to draw 1 card. The person who goes after you will draw 1 card. And then it would go to their turn and say this is the card they are wanting to play. Well, there are 2 squares that match because we have the fire and star that matches that fire and star, and the jungle with the J that matches one another. And so they're going to play like so. And we have made 2 perfect matches. When you make 2 perfect matches, you are going to make that person actually have to draw 2 cards. So that's even better for you. But not only that, anytime you make an opponent draw more than 1 card, you get to go again. It's a bonus turn. And so they would get to play another card out there on the playing surface. Now, if you made a 3 perfect match, so 3 squares matching up perfectly, then they would have to draw 4 cards, your next opponent, the player who goes after you. And if you made a perfect card, so all 4 squares matching for color and symbol on each square, that is a perfect match, and you actually make that person draw 8 cards. That is pretty devastating to come back from. Now, some of the cards are going to have block spaces on them, and whenever you play a block space, that is going to be somewhere that cannot be played on for the rest of the game. So, for instance, perhaps say somebody wanted to match up these stars, and yes, you can match just the symbols without matching the colors, although that's not a great move, and vice versa, you can match the colors without matching the symbols. But if they were to do this, no one could play on top of this block right here. Now, there are other cards in the deck that are going to shake things up. You do have some wilds, which are going to allow you to match any symbol. You do still have to try and match the color if you are wanting to get the bonuses. So like, for instance, this is just going to match up colors here. I won't actually get to match the hearts. It's just that I can play on top of hearts. And let's see, there are cards that have revenge blocks on them. Now, what this is going to do is if I had to draw cards because the player before me played something that was really good and made me have to draw cards, and then I played this card next, a revenge block. So perhaps maybe, let's see, I do something like this here. I match up those two sands, and I have played the revenge block. Well, now that player is going to have to take those cards from my hand. It's a revenge. So instead of me having to take on all those cards that I just drew, that player is getting them thrown back at them. Now, ultimately, what you are trying to do in this game, you are trying to deplete your hand of all cards, be the first player to do that, and you win the game. Another way you can win the game is if you can match up two blue jays. There are these two cards in the deck, and if you are able to line up the blue jay, the one that looks exactly like that, with the other blue jay, lining them on top of one another like so, you automatically win the game. And that is a way to win. Another way to win is when somebody is unable to play a card, they have to take the entire draw pile. And they will have to take all those cards, and whoever has the fewest cards at that point is going to be the winner. That's generally the basic game. That's how you play this game. Now, there are lots of things you can add to it to spice things up. Real quick, this Firebird deck is a smaller deck that is going to be for ages 8 and younger, or 8 and up, excuse me, 1 to 4 players, 15 minutes, and this is like a children's basic version of how to play the game. It's a good introductory to the game. Then, let me move out these boxes here. You have the booster packs. Now, these booster packs are just little modules that you can add to the game. You do not have to play with any of them, and you do not have to play with all of them, but you can play with as many as you want, adding them to the basic game to spice things up. I'll just briefly talk about each one here. You have this blocker booster pack, which is going to allow you to have extra block cards to make things more difficult to play cards. You have a timed booster card pack, which whenever you play one of these cards that have a timer on it, then you flip the timer and the next person has this long to play a card. If they play a basic card that doesn't have a timer on it, not the start card, but that kind of card, then the timer is going to be neutral. It's going to turn off essentially. And then the next time another one of these cards is played, you flip it back over to the smaller side of the timer. And you just keep doing this. And if the timer ever runs out, then the round ends. You have some wild color packs here, which are going to add extra wilds to your game. You do have a drinking game booster pack, if that is your cup of tea, to cause people to have to take drinks, that sort of thing. There is a money booster pack in which you are going to actually create a pile of cards, a pool of cards that you are basically gambling over, trying to win. There is a socialism pack. There's some political packs here, too, if that's your cup of tea. The socialism pack is going to have you take extra cards from a discard pile. And the two presidential packs are going to add more wilds to the deck and a different type of wilds and some cards that are going to clog your hand and make it more difficult to try to deplete all the cards from your hand. And they do come in this Big O Elements box here that you can hold in all of your different cards. And so there you have it. That's what you have here with Blue Jays. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one.
And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Blue Jays from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, this is a card game pattern building, recognizing type of experience with this one. It's what some might call a beer and pretzels kind of game that, you know, you might just play with friends and you could play it on a table at a restaurant even maybe. What were your initial impressions of seeing this out on the table?
I mean, yeah, I'd say that's definitely a take with you, very portable
Sure.
game. I mean, really, you could just take this with you.
Yeah.
Very portable, easy to take with you, take to a restaurant, take on vacation type of game.
Yeah, it is. And it's one that does not take a whole lot of time to explain. It is a simple concept.
Yeah.
You're really just trying to match the symbols with the colors. If you can, that's great. And if you can't, then you just still want to try to match up to one of those things. And the better you can do that, the quicker you're going to be able to get rid of these cards out of your hand. Then you start adding in all these different modules, and the rules can get a little bit more intensive than that. But even then, you still have a pretty simple concept with this game. For you as a non-gamer, what was that like trying to figure out how to do well in this?
I mean, it is challenging, but at the same time, it's a pretty simple concept. You're not having to think of too many different things. You're not have a whole lot going on. So you're very focused on the one way to win.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, this is going to be very similar to the other kinds of card games that are out there where it's real simple. You just want to do this one thing and you want to be better at doing this one thing than anyone else.
Yeah.
And the one thing that's going on in this game is your observation.
Yeah.
Your observation, being able to look at the playing surface and being able to calculate going here helps me to match 2 symbols, but going there helps me to match 3. And am I just observant enough to see that as the playing field continues to expand and more options are available to me to play cards? Then there's some other things to it about blocking people off and taking things away from other people that can kind of spice this game up and make it a little more...
Or play with my brother-in-law who's colorblind, so...
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, you've got the ability to kind of add things to this game and make it feel a little bit different, add some spice to it, that sort of thing. Was this a fun experience?
Yeah, it was a good, fun game. It was a good starter game for a game night.
Yeah, I will agree with that. It was definitely, I didn't know what to expect getting into this because it has all these different modules, and at first I was kind of lost with, where do I start with this? And so I just started with the basic game. And the basic game is really straightforward. It's something that I could probably play with our kids, and I think they would stand just as much of a chance at winning it as I would. And then learning the rules for the different modules and adding those into it gives you a new feel, gives you a new flavor. The speed variant to it, trying to be quick in doing that, is pretty challenging and adds that extra panic to the game. So you can really kind of customize what experience you're wanting by adding in these different modules and give you a different feel for the game. So you said that it's a very kind of casual experience. It's not, a heavy game. It is, as we mentioned, kind of a beer and pretzel type game. And sometimes it's good to have that kind of experience. So
yeah,
I think you can definitely get that with this one right here. So, all right, let's get into pros and cons. So Sam, real quickly on this, what were the things you really liked?
I mean, I like the portability of it. It's always something we consider because we travel a lot. It's easy to learn, and it's a fairly quick game as well. So those are all good aspects of it.
Yeah, for sure. Anything that you weren't too keen on?
I mean, it's a very simple game. It is what it is. There's nothing, you can add the different components to it. So I do like that because it could be, the base game is very simple. So I do like that you can add something to it. But at the end of the day, it's a card game.
All right, so scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What are you going to give Blue Jays?
I would probably give it a 6.4.
6.4?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. For me, I think I'm probably right about a 6.6 or so, 6.7 maybe. And this is a game in which, you're going to be able to play with just about anybody.
Yeah.
This is going to be a game that people are going to pick up quick, and you can get a game in really quick and turn around and set it right back up and play again. I just keep coming back to it. It's got a restaurant kind of vibe to it, feel to it. Like I could stick this in my pocket and pull it out and play right before dinner arrives, kind of thing.
And he will too.
And sometimes that's exactly the experience you want to get. So solid experience on Blue Jays. It is from Jayzeta. Leave some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this game.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.